Hello friends, Sandra Sherman here. Greetings from the Austrian Alps. It's Latin time, and this week's jazz standard is Wave by the great Tom Jobim. I made a chord melody arrangement which I consider intermediate level. But don't worry, I'll show everything slowly and in detail. There is also a slow tempo version at the end of this video. I have tabs for you to download down below in the description box. You'll find the link. All right, let's ride the wave. I transposed Wave to the key of G major because it was hard to come up with a good and playable version in the original key of D major. As for the song form, we have an AABA song form, but the A parts are 12 bars instead of the usual 16 bars. The B section is 8 bars as usual. Throughout the entire song, I use my fingers solely. I don't play hybrid picking because it's a Latin song and this is easily and best be played with your fingers. All right, here we go. Here's phrase 1 for you. 1, 2, 3. All right, we start with a pickup line. 5th of B, that's an E note, 8th of B string, and 7th of B string. And then we slide or glide down to the G major. You can also play this line here, 5B, 3E, and 2B, E. But I find this pretty hard to change to the G major even though it's closer, but your index finger has to go a long way and this usually gives you a jumpy sound. Okay, so what I do is I prefer to play it up here and kind of slide down here to the G major 7, which is on the 3rd of E, 4th of D, 4th of G, and the 3rd of B string. I play all 4 strings and now my rhythm sets in, but I do not play the high B string anymore because this is where the melody is and I don't want to distract from the melody. I don't want to conflict with it, so I play. For the filler chords, I play only the D and G strings now, and the bass, and the fillers too on the D and G. Basic bossa nova rhythm. 1, 2, 3, and rest. On the 4, we usually have a rest. All right. Then I stay here actually and play that fourth of the G again alone. Go up to the fifth, twice with my pinky. Then I have the fourth of the B string and the second of the E, and I tried to have them ring together. When I'm on the E string, I lift up my other fingers to reach that. That's the second. Did I say that? Fourth, five, fourth of B and second of E. And then the fifth of the E string. So my pinky needs to lift up early enough. But I still want that sound of that diminished chord. And then I glide up, actually it's not audible, and have an A diminished chord, or E flat diminished. That's what's written in the lead sheet, but that's all the same. 7 of D, 8 of G, 7 of B, and 8 of E. So your pinky just glides. We want to stay in contact with the guitar as much as possible. I cannot say that often enough. I say it in almost every video. Don't do this, okay? Try to stay in contact. I feel that string, I feel the frets. I can't play that blindly because I feel the frets in between. I feel 1, 2, 3 frets. So I don't even have to look at it. Then I play the 7th of the E string alone and I bar it. This might look strange because there is no need for barring, but I have a bar chord after it. I just play the string with the end of my finger here. And not like this, because I need to bar then, and this would make a jumpy sound again. Because now I'm going over to D minor 7 on the 10th fret, and I have my 10th of E, 10th of G, B, and E. Okay? Now that's easier then. Okay? Just a little trick. Then I play the D, G, and B strings of that chord. Again, I don't want to conflict with the still ringing melody. This should still be ringing here. Then the bass, and those 3 strings again, D, G, and B. Okay? And a snappy rest again. We have our rhythm going on again. Okay, here's the entire phrase number 1 in slow tempo. 1, 2, 3. And here is phrase number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we start at the 4 end of the previous bar because we always anticipate the new chord, and the new chord is G7 flat 9. This is the 10th fret of the A, the 9th of the D, barring it, the 8th of the G, and the 7th of the B by barring it. We start with the upper 3 strings though, because on the end we always have the upper strings. And now we have that 1, beat 1, and that's the bass alone. And 1, and then the end is the upper 3 strings again. And then we have a snappy rest again. And, and 1 and 2. Then we go over to another G7 flat 9 in the shape of B diminished chord. Here you can see how they are related actually. We don't play the root now anymore, so lift it up. So we have 7 of D, 8 of G and that 7 of B, but we don't bar this now. We play the 7 of B with the middle finger. And the pinky plays the 5th of the chord, and this is the 10th fret of the E string. 7, 8, 7, 10. Okay? I play this twice with all 4 strings. Okay. Then I go over to the 12th of the E string. Here's a melody note. And then a new chord begins at the 4 end of this bar. And that's a C major 9 chord. Our virtual root is the 8th of the E, but we don't play it. We start on the 9th of the, D string, the 9th of the G, the 8th of the B, and the 10th of the E string. We play all 4 strings. So, we're coming from that top note. All you gotta do, put your pinky 2 frets down and add the other tones to the chord. And I play that once, then I have a rest again on count number 2. 1, 2. Then I go over to a C6 9 chord. Here's our virtual root again, the 8th of the E, which we don't fret. We have the 7 and the 7 of D and G barred, and the 8 and 8 of B and E string barred or played with 2 fingers, whatever you like. Okay, so we come from here, C major 9, rest, and then we have a C6 9 played twice. That's a melody. Okay. Now, I play that 7 on the E string alone. If I just lift my ring finger up, I have a muted sound probably, or a not gooding sound. So I push it a little to the right. But I leave it here because the next tone, the next chord is a C minor 6, which requires us to stay here. 7th again of the D, but now 8 of the G, 8, 8, it's all barred. This is different than a C6 9. This is a major kind of chord, belongs to the major group, C6 9. If you move your ring finger up 1 string to the G string, we are in a minor group because this is a C minor 6 chord. It could also be an F9. So it depends what your root is. C in this case. 7, 8, 8, 8. All right, let me play through this. Okay. Then I made diets for the melody. The melody is on the 7th of the E string, and I add that 8th fret of the B string. That's a nice sounding third. I do the same thing with the minor third one up. I'm on the 8th fret of the E string and the 10th now of the B string. Slide your index along the E string. And now we have an F13 or a C minor 6, 9. Whatever you might call this. This is the 7th of the D, 8 and 8 of G and B barred, and the 10th of the E string. Okay, so. And then we have a B13. We stay here, we move our index up to the B, that's the 7th of the E string. Then we have our middle finger on the 8th of the G string, the ring is on the 9th of the B string, and the 7th of the E by barring. 7, 8, 9, 7. Okay, we play all 4 strings. And now I fill it up with the lower 3 strings. That's the D, G, and B. Then low E string separately. And now the upper 3 strings, but I move my ring finger to the left to get a B7 flat 13 out. We have a 13 here, And if I move my ring finger to the 8th fret, I get a flat 13 or sharp 5. And I play those 3 strings. So my filler is B13, flat 13. All right, let me play that entire phrase number 2 for you now in slow tempo, at slow tempo. All right, we start with the G7 flat 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. Phrase number 3 is a little tricky, but we'll learn it slow and easy. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we start with an E9 sus4 chord on the 4 end. This is 7, 7, 7, 7 in a 4 strings, A, D, G, and B string. Okay, we start with the upper strings because we're on count number 4, and on the offbeat, as we learned, we always have the upper 3 strings, no bass. And 1, now on the count 1 we have that bass. And 1, and is the upper strings again. Rings into 2. Then we stay here and we play that high E string. The rest should still be ringing into the melody. Then that's the 7th of the E string. And I stretch over to the 10th of the E string, the 9th with your ring or pinky. I prefer my pinky. Middle finger's on the 8th now. And the 7th it is again. So the melody is 7, 10, 9, 8, 7. And then we go to an A9 chord. I hope you can fret this. If it's too high, just play the highest note, which is the top note. That's the melody note. Okay, but if you can fret it, that's good. We need an A9. 12th of the A string, 11th of the D, 12 and 12 of G and B strings. I play the full chord once. We're on count number 1. 1 and 2, then I have the G string twice. Then I have the G string plus the D and the A string. Those 3 strings. I let it all ring. If you can't play that, just play the top note. That's the melody. Okay, from the E sus. Then we have another A7 kind of thing. We go from D string 11th fret and 9th fret of the G string. Play that simultaneously, that's a 3rd. I play the 12th, I let this 11th fret keep it ringing, and then I also keep ringing the 10th of the B string. Together this makes an A7. Okay, this is it. You can lift the index up if you want to. But these 3 should ring into each other. Alrighty, so from A9. Now I go to an E9, E flat 9. Here's my virtual root. It's the 11th of E, which we don't play. I start on the 10th of the A, 11D, 10G, 11B. That's an E flat 9 without root. Then I go over to the 8th fret of the B string. Then I play the 10th and let them ring together so it makes kind of a sound, a chord, sorry. 10 and the 11th of the D string. That's a diminished sound. Actually, it is not. I'm sorry. It's an E flat 9 chord without the root. All right. Okay, so that's the melody, but I have it ring together as a chord. And our last chord is the D7th. Usually I don't like voicings that low, but here I have no other choice because I have, this is the melody note, is so low. It's the 10th of the D string. Then I add my 9th of the A and the 10th of the E string. That's a D7. Don't play that in your regular comping. This is just for a chord melody. All right, from the beginning of this phrase, everything in slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is phrase number 4, which is a really short one. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then the A section is finished, the first A section. We start with a G minor 7 on the 3rd. We come from the 10th, so this is pretty long way, but it's actually the same strings almost. We are on the 3rd of E, the 3rd of D and G. We don't play the B string because this is where our melody is. 3, 4, and 1. Let it ring into the 1. Then I lift my fingers up and play that G string, that open G string. And 2, 3, 4. Now I fret like a C chord, like a cowboy C chord. I play only the lower 2 strings, the 3rd of the A and the 2nd of the D string. Then I jump down over to my 3rd of the E string and play a little bass line to get to that C back again. 3rd of E, 1st of A and 2nd of A. And that brings me back to a C7 chord, which is the 3rd. So I go over with my middle finger to the 3rd of A, the 2nd of D, and the 3rd of G. I play that twice. This is a standard ending for a section in Latin. That first note is really staccato, which means it's really short, back, and that's it. It is written as a quarter note because that's easier to read, but there is a little dot on top of that note, which says played shortly. And that second is longer. 1, 2. How can you play it short? By lifting your fingers up and touching the strings and keeping them from ringing. All right, here's phrase number 4. We are ready in slow tempo for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. A2 section is identical to the A1 section, except for that last phrase that we just had, that G minor to C7. That's just a little different. And this is phrase 5. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. We come from that D7 up here on the 10th fret, that low thing. And then we go down to the G minor 7. This is the 3rd fret, just like in the A1 section. 3rd of E, 3rd of D, and G. We syncopate this again on the 4 and 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, and 1. Then the open G string, that's identical. Then we go over to a C. That's the 3rd of the A and the 2nd of the D. We had that too, but then we had that bass line thing. We don't have that now. We have, that's the same, and now we just fill it up. I play that A string again. After that I play that D string, and then I play both of them, the A and the D string. So coming from G minor, 7, open string, C, one more time, 3, 4. And then I kind of repeat this. I play the G minor 7 again up till the to the G string, open G string, a little rest, and then the full C7. 3rd of A, 2nd of D, and the 3rd of G now also. And then I rest again. So 2nd bar. Okay, the entire phrase number 5, 3, 4. We're in the B section already. These are the first 4 bars of it, and this is phrase number 6. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we have a C minor 11 here. Actually, we just hear a C minor 7 sound. We start on the A string 3rd fret. We bar it all the way through to the high E string, and we have our middle finger on the 4th of the B string. So we play only the A string, the G, the B, and the E string. Then I have my rest again, and I don't want to stop everything from ringing because here is a melody. This is not a rhythm filler, this is a melody. But I still want my percussive notes, so all I do is like a bass man. I play it with my thumb. I don't use my fingers because that would stop that high E note from ringing. I just play that bass note. Then I slap it, and then I play that bass. Then I have my 6th on the B, my 4th, which should still be laying here, and my 3rd of the B. One more time. Then I go over to an F7 chord. I bar it, I have to actually. 1st of E, where are we? 1st of a D, 2nd of G, and 1st of B, the middle 3 strings. 1, 1, 2, 1. I have that bass snap again. Then I play that bass, audible. Then I add my pinky to the 3rd fret of the B string and I play the D, G, and B strings. So this is 1, 2, 3, and we are on an F13 now. Then my pinky goes over to the 4th, and then I let everything go to be able to play my 3rd of the E string. Okay, first 2 bars, 3, 4. And da, da, da. Now I have a B flat major chord, 1st of the A, 3rd of the D. We don't even play that, but we fret it because that's our usual B flat major chord. 2nd of G, 3rd of B, and the 1st of the E string. And we play the highest 3 strings, G, B, and E, and the A string. Okay, 1, then I have a rest on all, because the melody is dum, ba, bum, so we can rest. Then I play it again, and then I play it again. We have this 3 times, but on the 3rd time, which is count number 3, I prefer to play a 5th in bass. So I go over to that E string on the 1st and play my top 3 strings again. Everything remains the same, I just changed the bass note from B flat to F. Then I have a rhythm filler. I play the, what did I play? The D, G, and B string. Then I go back to the A string, because I'm beat 1. Beat 1 always needs the root. I cannot play the 5th on beat 1. 1, and has the fingers again, and bass, and then a rest, another and with the fingers. Then I have the 5th in bass again. We're on count number 3. I can have the 5th in bass. That's the 1st of the E string. And my and, which are the 3 strings again, D, G, and B strings. So this is the 2nd bar of my regular bossa nova rhythm with a 5th in bass. Okay, the last 2 bars. And here's the entire phrase number 6 for you in slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here are the last bars of the B section. This is phrase number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we had that C minor before. Now we have a B flat minor, and this is the 1st fret on the A string, barred all the way through the high E string, and the middle finger is on the 2nd of the B string. So we have 1, 1 on G, 2 on B, and 1 on E. Then we have a rest again. Snap it only with the bass, but it's not followed by a bass sounding string like before in the C minor. It's just a rest, because now we have a different melody rhythm going on. We have that 4th of the B string, then the 2nd of B string, and then lift your middle finger off, and you have that 1st of the B string, which is on the bar. Okay, 1, 2, and 3, and now we have a full rest with your ankles again. Then I'm going to an E flat with a G in bass. It's a beautiful chord. It's not even a jazz chord per se. We have the third on the E string, the first on the D, and the third of the G string. This is an E flat power chord actually with the third in bass. Regular E flat major chord. Then I have a rest, and then I have that melody, and I harmonized it with sixth in intervals of sixth. I have 1-1 on D and B string, and I bar this because I'm still here, so I just need to bar it. D first, B first. Then I add my ring to the third of the D and my middle to the second of the B string. These are all sixth in the key of E flat. That E flat mixoler, then this is, sorry. And then we have 1 of G and 1 of E. I'm still barring, I'm pressing hard against that E string. Okay, here we go. And I go over to an A flat major 7 standard jazz chord, 4th of the E, 5-5 D and G string, and 4th of the B string. Then a full rest, 1, 2, and I hit that B string again alone. Then I have my bass. Now I need a filler bass and a middle 2 strings because I don't want to distract from that melody that should still be ringing. Melody, bass, and middle 2 strings, D and G strings on the 5th. Okay, full A flat major chord. And the rest again. And now I fill up with a 2-5 in minor. That's an A half diminished now. 5 of the E string, 5-5 of D and G, and 4th of the B string. You can fret it this way or this way. I prefer the thumb thing. Then I play the higher 3 strings alone, D, G, and B. And then I rest. And then I go over to the last chord. That's a D7 flat 9 chord. We are on the 5th of the A string. We bar over from the D string 4th, have the 5th of the G, and we have that bar on the 5th of the B. 5, 4, 5, 4 in a 4 strings. Okay? And that's it. All right, that phrase number 7 in slow tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. That last A section is completely identical to the first 2 A section with the exception of that last bar, last 2 bars actually. We come from that D7 and we go down to that G minor 7 again where we had that bass line thing going on. Now we have G minor 7 was the 3rd of E and the 3rd and 3rd of D and G. We don't go up to the B string. 3, 3, 3. And this time we hit it twice. 3, 4, and 1. It's not syncopated anymore. We hit it twice. Then I have that open G string again, like in the first section. And here's the ending chord, a G minor major 7 chord. 4th of D, and then a bar over 3rd of G, B, and E strings. That's a G minor major 7, which is often used for jazz endings, and it's kind of a mixture between a minor and major chord. It's a minor but without the 7th, but a flat 7th, but the major 7th instead. Okay, so that last bar, 3, 4. That's all there is to it. Kind of strum through that last thing, or do it like I do. Play those strings quickly one after another. Takes a bit of practice though. Or, alrighty.
I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I see you next time. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao.